everyone. I am on my way home. It is April 20th, 2021. It's been a very long day. That's how bad it is. I can't even think of what year it is. Not a bad day, just a very, very mentally exhausting day as far as doing taxes today. So it comes every month for me. But anyways, I'm actually on my way home, so bear with me. It may be a little shaky and I may be a little distracted at times, but Melvin and I, my husband, and I went to the Chattanooga area this weekend. If you've watched our video on, what God did through us, and I mean, just amazing this past weekend. And the young girl that we actually met, a gentleman, and then a young girl that we actually spoke with and spent like 3.5 hours with her at where she serves at. But I want to kind of elaborate on some of that conversation, because I just kept seeing things that told me that God wanted me to share something, and as far as my testimony is concerned as well. So and I've seen all day long where he has wanted me to share something, and I really don't know what he wanted me to share, but I know that he's going to put the words in my mouth that he wants to. But I'm being obedient to him and doing what he's told me to do. I just didn't feel like it was a blog post today. I felt it was more of a video, and I'm not, like I told my husband, I'm not most comfortable. He's more adamant about doing a video than I am, so I struggle with it. I feel like Moses a lot of times where, he tells the Lord that, to send somebody else to go, when God tells him to go, to Pharaoh and tell him to set his people free. And, I feel like Moses a lot of times where I'm not eloquent of speech, and, but I know it's not of me, it's of God, and that's the most important thing, that, I don't want to be seen. I want the Lord to be seen through me. So anyways, I had, like I said, we went to Chattanooga, and, met this sweet young lady there, and, come to find out she's struggling with a few things that I have as well, especially in the last few years, and before that as well, but really since my walk with the Lord has just grown deeper, that's just, I struggle with things more so. It's just like Satan just attacks you, and then he will, because he's not going to attack anybody that's not desiring to be in God's will, because he has no use to do that. There's no use for him to even attack you every second of the day, because you're doing what he wants. You're going your own way, doing your own thing. You're not desiring what God wants. So, but those who choose to desire God's will, that the enemy comes, and he comes with a vengeance, and it's just horrible sometimes, and it's not necessarily in the aspect of what people can see as well. It's of the mind. That's where the enemy loves to take shots at you the most. And that's one thing I've experienced this morning. And the past 2 nights, my poor husband has just he hasn't been able to sleep. He's got a lot on his mind with things that are going on in our lives, and he's just not able to sleep. And he will go into the living room to keep from tossing and turning, and to keep me from waking up. And he just falls asleep on the couch, after, either trying to watch TV to kind of get his mind still, or do read his Bible, or do devotionals, or, just anything that he can do to, to be able to rest. And so that's been the past 2 nights. And, this morning he was like, I'm sorry I haven't been in the bed the past 2 nights, but I know he has a lot to deal with. And like I told him first thing, I said, I'm not upset with you. I said, I know Satan is using that to, poke and prod is what I told him. He's poking and prodding at me. And I know that's the way the enemy does is, he wants to use certain things. And not to say I haven't gotten upset about that before. Sorry, I had to adjust that while I'm driving here. Not to say I haven't gotten upset about him not being in the bed, because I like my husband in the bed with me. But, and I know he's dealt with a lot. He still is dealing with a lot at this moment. And, but, Satan's going to use whatever he can to poke and prod. And if he gets that little foothold, he thinks he's just won. And if you let him, he will win in your mind, temporarily, until you allow God to just, say, hey, I need you to kick, this enemy's butt for me, pretty much. You have to put your trust and faith in the Lord, and it's just let him fight your battles. That's, he's got the strength and the wisdom that can, help you do that. And we are not able to do that on our own at all. I'm not, and I will be the first to admit that I'm as weak as weak can be. But that's why, I trust in my God that is so strong, and he's the one that's going to defeat the enemy for me. So that's just some things that I've dealt with today. But all this pollen, gotta love it. Got you sniffling and sneezing and itching and all that good jazz. But anyways, so this weekend I met this sweet girl, and I'm not going to use her name because I don't want, it's a privacy thing, and I would never do anything to, draw attention to her when it's not wanted. But sweetheart. She lost her mom. Her dad's not in her life. Is, but not where she can see him right now, because she lives here and he lives somewhere else. So she's kind of separated from him at the moment, because she chose to move down here. I think closer to like her grandmother and stuff. I think that's what she said. Closer to, but she has family here, so that's good. But she's dealt with some things, and one thing that she brought up to me and Melvin was she has dreams and visions, and I've heard of people that God speaks through different ways, like me and my husband is numbers and scripture, God's word. That's just 3 different things that he uses to speak to me and him about. My sister-in-law, she had got like a sense about some things. That's just how God would communicate with her and give her that sense about things, and so, and then like she would get a sense about something going on in Melvin's life, and she would call, and they would get to talk, and and it would be that's what it was, or you got there's something coming, and she would get that sense and stuff, and that God would be, she would call Melvin, and sure enough, it was a spiritual gift that she was given for sure. And it's amazing how God will communicate with you if you're willing, to do His will, not our own. That just, you can't do your own thing and expect God to talk to you when you're not willing to listen to Him, anyways. But she had dealt with dreams and visions, and some of them were bad, and she was questioning this. Why are they bad? And I looked at her and I said, have you ever considered the fact that they're a warning? It's not so much bad, it's just a warning. And it was like a light bulb went off, because you could see the expression on her face was like, oh my goodness. And she said, that explains a whole bunch because of something that just happened. She didn't tell us, and we didn't need to know. That was between her and God. We wasn't dare going to ask anything personal, but we wanted to help her in any way. That's what we felt, that we were there, and we talked to her for 3.5 hours, and it was just amazing. We were there to kind of help her and confirm things, and to guide her in some things, and to watch her eyes just light up like, oh my goodness, that's exactly what it was because of what just happened. she said it was a warning. So she understood why even the bad dreams were happening. Not just the good ones, but the bad ones. And so she was going to kind of take note of that, mentally from here on out. You could tell. Sorry, my nose is itching like crazy. I love springtime, but it don't like me. But anyways, then she got, we kind of talked a little bit and a little bit more. And you could tell she was struggling with some things. And we didn't want to poke her prod. It wasn't our business. It wasn't anything that we needed to know. But we could tell that she was struggling. And, but one thing she did say is that she was, she was struggling to forgive herself. That's where, and when she said that, I was just like, oh my goodness, and I looked at my husband and I said, who does that sound like? And he looked at me and he's like, he just pointed at me. He didn't even look at me. He just pointed, because he knew exactly, who that was, because he knew I struggled with that for several years now, as long as he's known me. But I will say this, I have struggled with that, but the thing is, we've always heard, and this is what I told him, I said, I've always heard, I said, to forgive other people, I haven't read where it says you gotta forgive yourself. But the same part, if you can't forgive yourself, how can you witness to somebody else about forgiving themselves over something when you can't do it yourself? And that's exactly what I said to this girl. And, she had mentioned a thing or two that, she had done, or, something that happened in her life and had done, and it was just eating at her. And you can tell. And she just out of nowhere, she said what this thing was. But I didn't, and I know it was not of me, that when she said what she did, I automatically just told her, well, I did this. And she looked at me, and you could tell that it was kind of like, I'm not alone. That kind of look, I'm not alone. This is somebody that I can talk to, because not only, I just said something to her, but she chose to share it with me. And, and that's our testimony, and I told her, like Melvin, I told her, I gotta turn around here because the road's blocked off up here. But anyways, but like we told her, I said, your life is your testimony. And she was like, yeah, my dad said something like that, and I've been told by him and several other people about that, my life being a testimony, and what I went through is going to help somebody else. And she said, I've just been told that. She said, I'm struggling about forgiving myself. And I said, I understand. I do. I understand. And like I said, I told her, one thing of my past that I had, struggled with forgiving myself over. And, it's, to me, I might be the only person, but I'm sure or not, by no means, I'm sure a lot of people think this, that, it's easier to forgive others than it is yourself, because I beat myself up. I'm not going to speak for anybody else but myself, but I beat myself up for things, and I shouldn't. And a really cool story, and I'll put this, kind of insert this right quick, that, when was it? It was, September of 2019, I believe. September, October 2019. Some things that happened in my life, and I haven't seen my parents. I think I've seen my mama once, which was on our wedding day, mine and Melvin's, which is August 2019. My dad didn't even come. My youngest son walked me down the aisle. My oldest son moved out in June of 2019. Of course, my rules he didn't like. sorry, I don't allow drinking and dipping and stuff at 15 and 16-year-old. It's just not what I approve of, and that's not how I'm going to run my family or live my life. My daughter moved out, July of 2019. The only time I've spoken to her, actually, let me rephrase that she has spoken to me is September 9th, 2020 to October 31st, 2020, and that's the only time she's ever talked to me. We met for lunch, this, that, and the other. But anyways, and she told me that she was having a little girl, and she had a little girl, my little grandbaby, February 11th, 2021. I have not seen her, but that's kind of a side story. But let me tell you what the cool thing is about what happened in like September, October of 2019. I was struggling tremendously, and I'm gonna try not to get too emotional so I can finish, telling y'all this, but struggling tremendously because in April of 2019, that's when I remember on a Saturday morning, that's when, the things of my past and everything that I had dealt with to that point, I just spilled it all to God. That's just when I told him everything, which I know probably some of you laughing like, he already knows everything about you. Yes, I know that, but in my mind, he didn't, because I didn't tell him. And but I knew he did. It's just I haven't had that conversation with God about things that in particular happened in my childhood. And and I fell on my face that Saturday morning in 2019, and that's when my growth, my relationship with God really started. That was then. So anyways, and I was growing, I was reading my Bible, and desiring to know what God's will for me is. I was desiring his guidance, and I had been asking God, just begging, if I've done anything wrong when it comes to my family, I begged God. I begged God to convict me, to punish me. Anything that he wanted to do to me, I was begging for it, because I didn't want to, if I was wrong, I wanted him to let me know. And so I remember I was I was either coming home from work or I was going to work. But I remember being on 36, and I was begging God for just him to, convict me and punish me and whatever, if I had done anything wrong when it come to my family and that whole situation. And after about a month of just driving up and down, just begging him, every day to work, every day, for a month, I was just begging him and begging him and begging him. And I said, I remember that one day, it's no different than any other day, I was begging. If I done something wrong, God, just convict me, punish me, do whatever you have to do. And sorry, I'll tell you why I'm laughing here in a minute. But one day I was praying and I was on my way home, and I was telling God, convict me and punish me and do what you have to do to me. Why did this happen? Why are you not punishing me? Why are you not, just punish me? Why has this happened to me? And I was begging. I said, why? And the words that he spoke to me on my way home was, because he said, because you have an obedient heart. I never did ask after that day. I trusted him that what he told me is, because he knew me. He knew I'd do anything that would please him. So but even though he told me that, and I know why all this happened, and I realize it now, and even, as my relationship with him grew, and it was just kept growing and growing, and it's still growing, and I love it, the way he speaks to me. But what I realized, and even something I listened to this morning was talking it out with David Langford and his daughter Lorraine. They were talking about like your influence of your friends. She made the comment of, if you have two people and one's up here in their spiritual life, and then one's down here, if the two get together, the bottom is not going up to where the spiritual person is up here. This one is coming down, because you can't, it doesn't matter. The bad influence, I'm not saying bad, but the negative or the bad influence, whichever one, is going to win over the positive influence any day. That's just, if you get two people, you're not going to, most of the time you're not going to pull somebody up, they're going to pull you down. So that being said, I've heard that several times over the last couple of years, and I sat there and looked at it, I'm like, God, is this the reason why you have me where you have me? Because so I can be taught by you and not have any other kind of influence, but just from you. And everything that he shows me is, yes, that's why I'm setting you apart. And the reason why I'm laughing is because there is a scripture that God has, I'm going to turn this air down right quick because it's a little cold on my hand. There's a scripture that God led me to in a really, really cool way. It was Deuteronomy 14:2. And the whole passage is talking about clean and unclean foods, But there's that particular verse, in verse 2 in chapter 14 of Deuteronomy, was talking about being set apart by God, as a special treasure. And just the way he led me to that was just absolutely amazing. And this is where, and then I even saw something that was I think it's Mark 1:11. Anyway, that says, talks about, my dearly beloved son, I'm well pleased with you. I think that's Mark 1:11. But I have struggled with forgiving myself. Going back to the story that I was telling you about this young lady, I had struggled with forgiving myself, and God just kept confirming over and over and over and over again about, why I was going through the things I was going through, and why I was set apart. And as far as friends, I have people that I talk to every once in a while, but as far as having like a really, really close friend that I talk to on a daily basis, I don't. I've been hurt so many times, and I know a lot of people have been that way, and you're listening, I'm sure you have experienced that as well, being hurt by people, and you kind of hard to trust and everything else. But God brought me to a place where, to get me alone, for me to not have the negative influence of certain people, and to set me apart. And like I said, there's like 2 or 3 scriptures that has bring me to where he has set me apart, and it's just a really cool way of where he led me to that. But I still struggle with forgiving myself on a lot of things, and I know that was just the enemy's way of just bringing me down, so I don't so I can't, like, you can't be used by God, because you have this doubt, you have this things going on in your life, and you just beat yourself up for all this stuff. And how in the world can God use me if I'm sitting here doubting everything about me, and I'm just I can't forgive myself. And you can't tell somebody to do something when you're not willing to do it yourself. And that was where I was at. So when this girl said that she couldn't forgive herself, I knew that mindset. I knew where she was at. And so we got the chance to speak to her about that. And I showed her my reminder. My reminder is, and I haven't shown this to anybody except for people that we witnessed to, and I surely hadn't shown anybody as far as, if they see it, they see it. If they don't, if they question or whatever else. But Jesus, if you read in Luke 7:47, I've done some research on this. Jesus's language that he spoke was Aramaic, and I heard it's close to what I've read. It's close to Hebrew, and but in 7:47 he says that her sins, they are many, have been forgiven, and talks about as much sin as she had that she's been forgiven for, she loves much. But the part that I really got out of it was the fact that he talked about her many sins being forgiven, and God has led me on to that verse. Couldn't tell you how many times. Yesterday was one of them. But the funny thing about yesterday also, and I've seen it before, where he puts that verse and then he wants me, and then he shows me at the same time, I want you to talk about it. There are many, many things in my life that I am thankful that God forgave me, and it's the hardest thing for me to forgive myself. I have gotten to the place where I have allowed God to work in my life in that particular area, and because I knew that I wouldn't be able to witness to anybody like that young girl this past weekend if I was in the mindset of not forgiving myself. When she said that, God put me in a place where I had grew, and I would say I finally forgiven myself for that. Yeah, the enemy does kind of come in, poke and prod about that sometimes. But like today, I knew another day, I knew whenever I said it, to her, I was speaking from from as far as that particular place in my life, I was healed. God had healed me on that particular spot. And I was able to witness to this girl and express that, she can be used by God, but she does have to forgive herself. Anyways, what I was going to show you, and like I said, the words of Jesus, if you look in the Bible, they're in red letters. And Jesus spoke Aramaic. So, as a reminder to myself that I am a forgiven being, I wanted something, and on March, I believe it was 10th, 2020, I'm sorry, not March 10th, oh my goodness, December 10th, I believe it was the 10th, 10th or 12th, somewhere around that way. Anyways, December 2020, I got this on my arm. See that? That is the words of Jesus. It says forgiven, and it's got like Luke 7:47 underneath it. And it's kind of like a little reminder of me, but also, it's a, somebody just like the young girl this weekend. I was like, this is why I put this on myself. It's a reminder that I am forgiven. I don't have to walk around with my head hanging like I did for years. I don't have to walk around feeling defeated. I don't have to walk around saying I'm, with shame and regret and everything. Yeah, I do. I regret it. But I know that God has a purpose for my life, and everything that happened in it, I can use for His glory, not my own. I don't want any glory out of anything. I don't even want to be seen in it. I don't even, this video I'm struggling with right now. I'm more of a, I can type. I'd rather type a blog, and that's what I was telling my husband the other day. I'd rather just type it. That way I don't have to be seen. I don't like to be seen. I'll just hide in the shadows, but that's not where God wanted me today. And, in order for me to be obedient to what He wants, this is what I'm doing this for, is because of Him and for Him. not for my glory or for me to be raised up, for me to be seen. That's not what I want to do. I want to do it for the glory of God. But I've had those people along in my walk, in my life, that have been an encouragement to me, and that's one of the things we told this young lady. We wanted to be an encouragement to you. We want to encourage you in any way we can, and I gave her we exchanged numbers. So the really neat, another really thing, again, I'm not going to say a lot of neat things, but there was another really neat thing that happened. So Melvin had read a devotional yesterday, and one of his, I don't know which one it was, but I just felt like I needed to send that to her. And we had talked about certain different stories in the Bible with this young girl that day before, which happened to be on Sunday on our way home. And we had brought about the as far as the after I had said something about my past sin and her past sin, and we were talking about sins in general, and she's like, she said, well, and we got to talking about the woman at the well, and about Jesus, telling her all about her sins, and that he was a living water, and just she realized that he was the Messiah. He was the one that could forgive her and did, and anyways, that story just kind of came up. And so what was really neat was that this particular story, or the devotional that my husband read, I felt led to send it to her because of some of the things that it had in there, and about serving and stuff. But it's not the service that God is after, it's the relationship. That's what he wants. He wants the relationship before anything else, service included, as far as any kind of works. He wants the relationship with his child. So anyways, and we had discussed that with her, because she said she wanted to do more, and that's what I want to do more, and I just felt led to send that to her. So I took a picture of his devotional and sent it to her. So within like a second, she is texting me back and telling me, I can't believe you just texted me. And I was like, she said, I literally just opened up my Bible. She said, I saw 4:11. She said, and I wanted to see what it was. And funny thing, she had asked us, if you would point me to one particular book of the Bible to start at, because she wanted to get in there and start reading and stuff. She's like, where would you start? And like in unison, Melvin and I were going, John, just telling her. And she was like, oh my gosh, she said, that's so weird that y'all say that, because she said my grandmother had a discipleship book that she had with her Bible study group, and it was on John, the book of John. And we were like, well, that's confirmation right there that that's what you need to, where you need to start. And she was like, that's just so awesome. So anyways, so she had seen this number 4:11, and she was like, I just wanted to see what it was. And when she took a picture of her page in her Bible and sent it to me, I was in awe, because John 4:11 is the story about the woman at the well. And it was just so amazing how God just like took what we talked about and just confirmed to her that, if I can forgive her, I can forgive you, and you need to forgive yourself. And it was so amazing. Oh my goodness. So it was a really cool thing, but we wanted to be an encouragement to her, and to anybody that listens to this. I want to be transparent. I'm not going to speak for my husband. I want to speak for myself. I want to be transparent. I want to be a witness for God that I want him to be pleased with me. It's not about being seen, and it's not about getting praise and whatever else glory from anybody else but my Father in heaven. That's the only person that not even my husband. I don't even want praise from him. I want it from my Father in heaven, and that's what I do. I'm even doing this video as much as I feel uncomfortable doing it. But I hope this is an encouragement to you. I hope you, if you're struggling with, forgiving yourself or forgiving others and stuff, just remember, how is God forgave you for every sin that you ever had or did or is gonna do or whatever else. So why not forgive others? Because God forgave you. But then again, how can you be used by God if you're not willing to forgive yourself and allow him to use that as a witness to somebody else? If I not forgiven myself, have I not got to the place where I'm at right now, what good would I have been in order with this young lady that we spoke with? I wouldn't have been any good. There's no way I could have spoke to her without being a hypocrite, to be honest. I would have been a hypocrite. I'm telling her one thing, but I can't do it myself. I'm not allowing God to work through me and forgiving myself. I would be a hypocrite. I don't want to be that. I'm struggling. I struggle with that. And so anyways, there's a lot of things that are going on in our lives, and I just have to remember that God has me in this position where he has me for a purpose. And even though he knows my struggles on a daily basis, and there's been more this morning, missing my kids, just thinking about them. My son's graduating. My oldest son is graduating next month. Am I even going to get an invitation? Am I even going to be invited to go? That sort of thing's been on my heart today. And then, my youngest son was telling me that he held his niece, my grandbaby, before school yesterday morning, before he came home to me, because he's every the week between me and his daddy, and he got to see his niece, and he got to hold her, and I'm so glad that he gets to see her and spend time with her. I'm very happy about that. Would love to meet her someday. I really would. But there are times that I can't hold it together because I miss my baby girl so much, though. Growing, after her dad and I separated, she was my best friend. That's a hard thing to deal with whenever, you've got her, your daughter's your best friend, and then something happens and she walks out and you don't understand why, but God has a purpose. Right now she's living in how she wants to live, and I know the relationship between she and I can't happen right now because I'm not willing to live for the world. I'm willing to live for God. And some things, the same thing goes for the rest of my family. There may be things in their life that God doesn't want me around right now. Just pride or disobedience or whatever the case may be. He has me in a place where he can teach me, and he can, if I do something wrong, then he can correct me, and then he can use me where if I was in a place where I was with these people, with my family, their influence and not being a strong child of God, a Christ follower, then if I'm a weak, the influence could be very detrimental to my spiritual life, and that's not what he wants. He wants me to grow. He wants me to grow in him and be strong in him and trust him and lean on him and put all my faith, everything I have in him, all surrender. That's what it takes. You have to surrender everything in your life. including your family. All of them. Friends, family, job, whatever it is. Anything that could possibly is or could possibly get him in a position of where he's not first in your life. You have to surrender it. And, that's got a lot to do with forgiving yourself, because if you surrender everything you have to him, then he's going to do an amazing thing in your life, and he's going to be the one that's going to lead you. He's going to be the one that guides you. And he's going to show you who you are. And he's going to teach you how to forgive yourself, not anybody else. They don't know it. They don't know it. But he does. I mean, he forgave you. Why don't you forgive yourself? People could tell you that all day long. I know that. I've been there, done that. People can tell you that all day long. But when God tells you, it's a lot different. So, if you're struggling, I hope this is an encouragement to you. Need to talk? Shoot me a comment. I'd be glad to talk with you. I know how it feels. It's not an easy road, but it is one that can be overcome. So, hope y'all have a good rest of your day. It's beautiful outside right now. So, hope y'all enjoy it. I will talk to you later. Bye.